It's Bristol week, baby. Let's preview that on this episode. Welcome back, everybody, to ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zach Brown, and joining with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. Hope everybody had a wonderful Easter. Hope the Easter Bunny brought you lots of candy. A lot of weird things going out on the outside world, but we're trying to get away from reality and dive into motorsports. A lot to talk about. Previewing Bristol, going over the Rockingham. Obviously, we didn't have an episode last week to talk about Chase Elliott's big upset victory, I would say, at Martinsville over Denny Hamlin. That's old news at this point, but congrats to Chase Elliott, Hendrick Motorsports, getting their first win of the season. And we'll talk about Rockingham actually right now. So interesting, very interesting track, very historic track. It was there were quite a few cautions, which could be expected. A lot of I would say inexperienced drivers in the field on both parts. The truck race, shocker to no one, Corey Heim wins, but another exciting fashion once again. He last lap pass once again. And it was the last lap pass, or he just held off his teammate. He held off his teammate, I believe, but it was last lap drama once again in the Truck Series. They delivered another pretty solid race, and in the O'Reilly Series, it was the young kid Sawalich gets the way. He's a very good ARCA driver. I believe he was an ARCA champion. And he's already proven himself. He's only 19 years old, so he's looking really good too. So some good. I think it was a good weekend for Rockingham. I've heard a lot of positivity come from it. I feel like we talk about this every so often, where it's like, will they stay with Rockingham? Will they be able to work out the finances? We'll see what happens. I think they're doing it the right way, like how they brought Wilkesboro back. So I think it is trending in the right direction to potentially bring the Cup Series back to Rockingham.
Yeah, I hope they do. It seems like it's a very racy track. Now, how well this new next-gen car races on, we don't know. But the O'Reilly cars and the trucks, there was plenty of passing, plenty of side-by-side racing. The track service at Rockingham is really, really nice. I mean, it's nice and smooth, everything. I mean, it's just, when they redid everything, they went first class. So hopefully, I mean, as a old school NASCAR fan, I'd love to see Rockingham come back.
Yeah, so it doesn't really race like any other track that you see. It's obviously it's not quite a mile and a half. It's a mile and a third, maybe. Is something.
It's kind of shaped like Darlington a little bit.
It's strange how you have to arc into the corners. You can't go full throttle by any means because you're just going to slide. I mean, Corey Day slid quite a lot in that race. He thought he was still driving a dirt race car. And everybody was slip and slide, especially turns 3 and 4, but it's a very awkward turn. And it makes for really interesting racing. And you can't just dive in and expect it to stick, and you have to it's like slower is faster at that track on the corners. Yeah. Interesting, and I'd like to see what the Cup Series could bring there. I don't know if this car would be just too big for it. I don't know. Wilkesboro does okay, as good as anybody could really expect. I brought this up to you too. The way they brought Wilkesboro back, they did it the right way. They tested out with some smaller stuff, some smaller series, worked their way up, brought the Cup Series there for a couple years for the All-Star race, and now it is a points-paying race. I think it would be a great idea to do to Rockingham, get the Cup Series to come there. I would say either do the Clash, do it a test for like the Clash, a little shorter race, or an all-star race, again, another shorter race, and that would bring in a huge crowd. Do that for a year or two. If that goes well, bring that as a points-paying race. But you have to – I don't know why it's failed so many times. I don't know if it's the county. I don't know if it's the owner's mixture of everything. But it seems like they are actually trying to make this a more permanent thing. And this is one thing that NASCAR's doing, is they're listening to the fans. We'll see.
One thing that hurt Rockingham's when NASCAR was going through its big heyday, when all the tracks were holding 150,000 people, Rockingham holds 30. And there was just no way they were going to keep up. And NASCAR was like, all right, well, if you're not going to build bigger and better, you're going to lose your dates. And now we're starting to come full circle where you're just not filling these venues as it is. So
Well, NASCAR's going to make NASCAR makes their money by viewership on TV a lot
yeah,
now, a lot more than they used to for streaming services. I think it would be a good idea to have. I I don't know how all the finances work, so I'm an idiot when it comes to that. So don't quote me on if this is correct or not. But I feel like if you and a lot of old school people will be pissed off when I say this, but this is just the way the entire world's moving towards. Put that race on an exclusive Prime Video, and you have people paid to watch that race. Which I mean, you're going to have a Prime subscription anyways, very likely. And NASCAR will make a shit ton of money from a stream, an
mm-hmm.
exclusive stream on Prime for everybody to view Rockingham. Like that is a historic track, and even like old school viewers will tune in to watch Rockingham because that's
Especially with
such an
Dale
iconic
Jr.'s in the
track.
booth.
The booth's way better, and yeah, I'm gonna be started on the day. It's like this weekend. It was the booths were so much okay. The O'Reilly booth so much better. The truck booth gets a little bit annoying. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, Jamie does it. Not Jamie McMurray, but
Jamie Little.
yeah, Jamie Little. She's just annoying. Uh, and she. I mean, it's cool that she's a female broadcaster and the play-by-play for a major NASCAR race. But yeah, just hush. I don't want to hear you. And I think a lot of she's one that's always annoyed people in the garage too when she goes up to interviews. Like I'll still never forget when Jack Roush cussed her out in the middle of the race when she was trying to get an interview and he's trying to focus on something. That was pretty funny. I don't know, but the O'Reilly booth I think is the best booth. Adam
I agree with
Alexander
that.
does a fantastic job.
Yeah,
And
and
he
Jamie McMurray and
yeah,
Parker Kligerman.
and they get excited where it's not an annoying excitement. It's like
Yeah, not
and
Clint
like
Boyer getting all crazy when
Boyer gets annoying. Kevin Harvick does a really good job. When they did, I think it was the drivers only booth, and it was Kevin Harvick, Ryan Blaney, and Joey Logano.
they
That was
do
a
a great
really good.
job.
That was a good booth. Blaney does great. Joey Logano's always done a really good job
Yep.
too. Joey Logano helped with the IndyCar race too, and he did a good job. It was at Phoenix. He did a good job in that too. Joey's definitely got a future in broadcasting. I think. I think they need to have Jamie McMurray call more and give him a better opportunity. The TNT broadcast, we'll see how it goes. I can't. Who's the color commentator in that one?
Uh,
I can't think of who's in the TNT booth. I don't know why I'm blanking on it. But anyways, they do a bit especially when they go to Prime, and there's different laws for FAA purposes, not FAA, whatever the people that deal with the broadcasting. There's different guidelines that you have to do when you're on cable TV as opposed to
for the 20
FCC.
that's
Jesus,
last year. Never mind. I was like, that ain't right.
it's the FCC, not the damn FAA. I think the FAA is something to do with like flying or something. Jesus.
FCC.
Yeah, it's FCC, not the FAA. I thought I was going to do the FFA, the Future Farmers of America. At this point, it's a three-letter thing. But again, it was interesting to see that, and it was cool to have it on Easter weekend. It's a long weekend, so people were able to go and travel and see those races. Shout out to Caleb Costner making the trip to Rockingham for the truck race, and again, they're improving each and every week. He's finishing races. It's not on the lead lap, but he's not crashing the trucks, and that's you build up that. You're still getting better equipment.
Did you see he just signed with?
I did.
With Michael Waltrip.
I know. I was about So Caleb Costner signs with Michael Waltrip as the sponsor, Michael Waltrip Brewing for the Charlotte race. I about messaged him like, all right, you want to give me some like cases of beer or something?
I saw the wrap on it. That's pretty cool looking.
It's pretty sharp. His cars look really good. They're clean. They're simple. Nothing too fancy. They look good. They show up on the track.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he's raced a truck race at Charlotte or not, but I'm excited to see him race that. And
hope he does well.
What's that?
I said, hope he does well.
Yeah, and at the very least, get a good finish and just keep impressing.
Keep
And
logging laps.
yep, that's all you got to do. And you keep logging laps, you get that experience, and then you get more sponsorship, you get better equipment. It just kind of like
Yeah,
it's kind of goes from there. He's doing every bit as good as dang Frankie Muniz,
yeah.
and Frankie Muniz is probably doesn't have bad equipment because I mean he's got some money and he's got a new show. His sitcom's getting re-released again.
Yeah.
They're doing a revamp of it, but awesome for that. Let's talk about Bristol. Get into that. Get into NASCAR fantasy. We have a guest coming on. He'll give a guest pick for the NASCAR race this weekend at Bristol. We try to get as many guests to give their picks. We'll talk about that here in a second. He's a part-time ARCA driver. Seems we got some good amount of ARCA drivers. So I feel like I need to pay attention to ARCA more than I actually do, and I feel kind of bad that I don't pay attention to it as much.
You kind of always sort of forget when they're on.
Well, it's because it's not exactly NASCAR, so it doesn't really go on their page to like say,
Right.
"Hey, this is when
Well,
and where to
NASCAR's
watch
page is
this."
crap anyway. You couldn't find it if you wanted to.
And it's still a better chance to find that than I would say IndyCar stuff. Um, but Bristol is once again back on the concrete, not on Easter Sunday. That was probably the most annoying thing. Is
That
that
was Richmond, wasn't it?
yeah, it was when they did what?
Wasn't that Richmond last year on Easter?
I don't know, but they've done Bristol a couple times on
Did
dirt when it
they?
was on dirt on Easter Sunday,
Oh,
thinking
they
that
were on
was
dirt. Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's when they thought it was like, hey, we can get no. Uh, and I sent something out on my TikTok, and like I try mostly every day I have a different topic on TikTok text and spark conversation. It's been pretty good. This week has been Bristol Classic or Bristol Dirt, and I'm a and we're all both dirt guys at heart, but it's not the same. It is not a dirt track.
No.
It's a track with dirt on it. When it
Yeah.
was a dirt track, when it was racing on Bristol Dirt, Larson would say the same. All the dirt racers would say the same thing. The idea and concept, I guess, is cool. The truck series did way better. Those are designed better to race on dirt,
Yeah.
but to waste money,
Yeah. If you're going to do it,
go back to Eldora.
let the teams build late models or something and run dirt cars. Don't run
Yeah, I'm all for them. Like when they did the thing at Eldora a
the
few years.
Prelude to the Dream. That was
Yeah,
freaking
that was
awesome.
cool if they did like something like that. And now, as prevalent as streaming is, because back then you could never find it. As prevalent as streaming is now, you could do it on Flow. I mean, you could do it. Shoot, Prime could jump in on if they did like a charity event where these Cup drivers invite some F1 drivers, everybody from, I mean, IndyCar drivers. Larson's got connections to literally the entire racing world based on what he does. He races everything. So that would be really cool. And I mean, Tony could do it again at Eldora. That would go over huge.
Yeah,
And that'd just be on
that'd
one
be
of their
really
off
cool.
weeks, just have at it. The numbers would be immense, I believe. They would be sold out. Bring some retired drivers in, just see what everybody can do. And it'd probably be just late models. Not everybody would want to do the sprint cars. I mean,
No,
there's
I think the late models would be really the only real way of doing it.
yeah, and that's fine. I think, but you would get a lot of people to come watch it. I mean, and then Davenport would race in it too, and it would be cool. But Bristol back on concrete. It's been hit or miss lately. The night race has been the best race over
Yeah.
the last couple years, but this is the first time they are going the 750 horsepower package at Bristol in a long time. Well, this is the first time for this car, and first time they're going a high horsepower for Bristol in quite some time. I expect tire wear to be crucial in this one. I fully expect. I don't think they're going to shred like they did, but I think this will be the test of how the high horsepower is going to shake out. I think it's a high speed track. This is where you're going to have to be patient and drive smooth. Don't wear out all your tires and be there at the end. It's 500 laps. It's Bristol. A lot can happen. A lot of tempers are going to flare in this one. I guarantee it. Probably with Osavar, if I had to guess.
Let's hope some tempers are flaring because, Martinsville, let's face it, that race was pretty boring. Denny Hamlin stunk the thing up for the most part. nobody gets mad anymore. Nobody's crashing. Nobody's shoving people out of the way. People come to Bristol. They want to see the bump and run. Now, whether these cars with the higher horsepower, are we going to be able to pass? That's going to be the thing.
I honestly think yes. I think there
I
will
hope
be
so.
multiple grooves in this. I think with the high horsepower, there actually will be a top line that you can use, and I don't think it's going to be the preferred place in a long run. I think you're going to want to stick to the bottom to conserve your tires. Ask Denny Hamlin as many times as he's done that at Bristol and at other tracks. All these veteran drivers that have been around for quite some time, they're going to take care of their equipment and be there at the end. Once again, this is going to play a part of it too. Is qualifying. You've got to qualify good and have a good pit stall selection. If not, Martinsville showed that you kind of get screwed out of a lot of stuff. Ryan Blaney's crew once again proved that they suck.
Yeah, I feel bad for Blaney, and you know what? He don't ever say anything.
No, I mean
He don't say anything publicly that
no,
the
and
likes of
even though you
Kyle
do the
Busch
in
or
car, he
Kevin
sounds
Harvick.
frustrated, but he doesn't really like cuss them out.
Yeah,
So
that'd be Harvick or Kyle Busch. They'd be cussing him out on the radio, and
the AI radio broadcast, whatever I repost on my TikTok, whoever makes that, it does a hilarious job. They show some of the it's pretty great. I'm not gonna say what it is, but check that out if you get a chance. Um, I think that's all to really look at. It's a triple header this weekend at Bristol. I thought that Larson was going to race all three series, but he's only it's entered just for O'Reilly and the Cup Series. So
okay.
I thought there was a potential.
What car was he in, the '88 for Junior?
He's in the '88, yeah.
Gotcha.
Which I still don't understand how all that works with Caruth, and then you got Quapple going in a different car every it's weird. It's very strange.
Well, when your sponsor is HendrickCars.com, they would be like, "Hey, we want some of our Cup drivers."
I know, but like even when they're, it's just weird. I don't know. I don't quite understand how it all works because like Quapple's raced multiple junior motorsports cars. Like he's raced the 9.
Yeah, he was in the 1. He was in the 9.
He's racing the 9 this weekend, and I don't really understand what's going on. Like it's very strange. But if anybody knows, let me know. It's very strange.
Which, speaking of him, he's been quietly running very well.
He's done well. Let's get into NASCAR fantasy, and we'll. There's something in NHRA I want to touch on something in dirt racing that we saw over the weekend too, and then we'll invite our guest on for his pick and kind of give his little backgrounds about his racing. So NASCAR fantasy, 3 of us are close. JD, I'm sorry. I guess either we're really that much better, or you're just having some bad luck. But this is the fantasy point standings right now, and to shock nobody, Mom is leading. I don't know why hers is the only one that has a name showing up.
I don't know either.
I don't know why, but she is taking a commanding lead, I guess, right now. But we are all 3 of us are in the 1400.
44 over you.
Now I guarantee she's gonna. Oh, by the way, my last pick was fucking spot on.
That doesn't count for anything in fantasy, so it doesn't.
I know, but damn, I picked Chase Elliott to win, and I just feel bad. I should have put some damn money on that because I mean, spot fucking on. I'm like, I never get that right. Damn, that was good. Let's see if I can go 2 in a row here. So, my NASCAR fantasy line. Oh, Jesus God, my NASCAR fantasy lineup heading into Bristol. I can't even fucking speak. Let's just get on into the damn fantasy and show it on the damn screen. Okay, that's not mine. This is mine. All right, so I've got Chase Briscoe, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, and in my garage, Christopher Bell. I am abusing Denny Hamlin early on, but
yeah, well, what are you going to do?
The matchups this week: Chase Elliott versus Brad Keselowski. You got to go with the guy that has the momentum right now, Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin versus Larson. Once again, not gonna jinx shit with this. So Denny Hamlin over Larson. Ty Gibbs versus Chase Briscoe. I have Chase Briscoe. Ty Gibbs will quietly be decent at this track, but I do like the more experience of Chase Briscoe going to this one.
You didn't pick
And
the last one.
why did it not pick? Okay, don't know why that didn't click. But I do have Carson Hocevar over Josh Berry. Don't know why that's not clicked on. So got to fix that. But I just heard a slam, so that's always good to have him behind me. All right, go ahead with your NASCAR fantasy.
All right, so we're pretty similar. So I got Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin. Like I said, we've been beating on him pretty hard. Kyle Larson, bringing back Tyler Reddick this week. He kind of had an off week. Ryan Blaney, and in my garage, I have Ty Gibbs. This will be the first time I have Ty Gibbs in my lineup. He's been quite surprising this year. So in our head-to-head, I have Chase Elliott over Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson over Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs over Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe has been killing me the last few weeks. And I have Josh Berry over Carson Hocevar because I think Carson's going to be the one that loses his mind and does not end up finishing this race.
Or gets dumped because people get pissed
off. That's, he's going to be fun to watch. I'm going to predict that.
Yeah. Well, all of our lineups except Chase Elliott are different, so there's some ground to be made up here. You can be the one that jinxes Larson then for this week then. So let's give our picks again. We'll give our guest a pick here in a minute. But I was spot on with Martinsville. I said Chevy's gonna get their first win, start building a little bit of momentum because it's a short track. Bristol's a faster short track, and the higher horsepower in the short tracks. I feel like it's a kind of a Toyota centered race right here. So my pick this week, and I did mention that you're going to have to take care of tires, and nobody's better at taking care of his equipment and tires than this guy. I have Denny Hamlin to win at Bristol.
So you're thinking I jinxed Larson on my pick.
God
he's really getting double jinxed now because Mom and I both agree Chevy gets 2 in a row, 2 for Hendrick. Kyle Larson does it at Bristol this week.
Well, it's not really
being that Mom picked him, he's got a shot. It was just me, he's done.
Yeah. So if she feels like he can get it, but somebody has already. So only 2 of us have got. Wait, no, we all have gotten a pick right this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I hit it once.
Shit, we're just good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're so good.
I want to touch on NHRA. They're racing at Pomona this weekend, and we'll recap it next week. And then they go into Charlotte here soon for the 4 wide. But this is the news that broke out. I don't know if you saw this.
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking. Yep, that is the smartest thing they've done, bringing the hood scoops back.
Yeah. So you know more about this than that. So than me. So talk about the bringing back the hood scoops.
Well, when they switched from, they used to run 2 4-barrel carburetors, and you'd have the hood scoop mounted directly onto it. And if you're not familiar, just the faster they go down, the faster the air goes in there, pushing air through the carburetor. More air, more fuel, more power. So when they went to the electronic fuel injection, they put ductwork down in into the bumper, and they look more like production cars, but they're just not as cool. So I don't know how they're going to route the air through the scoop into the fuel injector. That remains to be seen, but I think that's smart. I think the Pro Stock fan dropped off just because they don't have that big scoop.
Yeah, and you'll see like the Pro mods, they still run some of them.
They run superchargers or blowers, or the ones that don't have a scoop will have a nitrous. So.
Oh, that's not it. I don't know what I just clicked on. My bad. I was trying to move.
Which that is somebody photoshopped that scoop onto the new stock car. They're not going to look quite like that.
No, but it's an idea of what they're going to look like, and I just have.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, good decision by NHRA.
I think so.
That's once again them listening to their fans, and I think it's the crews too that wanted it back. IndyCar's off this week. They're back, I think, next weekend at Long Beach. And so dirt racing, a lot of local races that have happened. I think the main tour.
They were off.
Yeah. So the biggest thing are sending thoughts out to Anthony Macri. Looks like he re-aggravated his injuries that he had the last year, the year before in his back. He's got a couple. I don't know if they're fractured or the details of it, but they posted it was
Yeah.
injuries to the T4 and T5 in the spine. So,
Well, the
and it
worst thing a
wasn't a
sprint car can
nasty.
do is come down on its wheels. That's when you're better off landing upside down completely. That wing takes a lot of the
That's
force
because
off.
you're going up like this and it comes
Well,
down like
when you
that.
hit that, you only have a couple inches between you and the whole drive line you're sitting over, and that rear end comes up and
Yeah,
hits you under the seat. I know when I worked with Craig, he went through a crash where he landed, straight back on his wheels, and he hurt his back for quite a while. So that's definitely a painful way of doing it. Because if you watch his crash, it really wasn't that big a deal. It'd be like,
and didn't Eric have back issues too when he was racing?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that might have been like,
it's just one of those deals with sprint car racing, and like we've seen way crazier crashes, and they walk away no issues at all.
yeah,
And I saw the
which
video
way
of it.
to
I'm like,
land.
well, it doesn't look bad. It's just, and it doesn't help that he had that injury or similar injury before, re-aggravating one of them and hurting another
Yeah,
one.
that's probably once you kind of hurt yourself one way, you're never 100% again. It's probably way easier to re-aggravate the.
If I had to guess and venture to say he's going to be out for the rest of the year, doing rehab and. Um,
He is young, so
But I think it'd be smart to like just let's take this the rest of the year off. Let's rehab, get back into it, potentially make a run at some of the big races in the fall. Take
possibly.
the summer off for sure. Uh, Maybe depending on what the doctors say, if he could make a comeback for the Knoxville Nationals. I know that was very likely in their plans to go to the Knoxville Nationals. That's potential. I just don't know what the injury timeline is on that type of injury. I think it also just it kind of depends on situations and how people heal. I mean, I don't know if there's surgery needed. I'm not a doctor. I'm too stupid to figure that one out. I didn't see anything that he's having surgery. He's just I know he was in the hospital. They were evaluating some things, getting some second opinions. So don't rush getting back though, Macri. It's not worth rushing, and you're
Yeah.
risking your health and the rest of your career for that. So hopefully he can make it back, and because he was having a really good year. Going against these touring series, he's got a couple wins in the Outlaws this year. He was hanging with them in every race that he was racing against.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think at one point he had the points lead in.
Yeah, he was the point leader at one point.
Yeah, it was after Volusia or something. So
Yeah, still.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to message this guy. I think all the touring series. I don't know if there's any midweek series for High Limit this week. I didn't see anything about it. I apparently follow too much on my Facebook of racing.
Yeah.
And
Well, I know there's going to be a lot of outside invaders coming to Williams Grove for Friday night.
he said who?
So High Limit must not be running. I know Brett Marks is coming in. Who runs the 13 car that Justin Peck used to run?
That's
Zach Presley?
the not for Casey.
No, the 13.
Because Persley runs the 9 for.
Presley runs the 9. Who runs the 13? I can't remember who runs the 13.
Oh,
Yeah. I
was gonna say it's Justin Peck. It's not Justin Peck.
No, it was his old car, but that car's coming in. Brent Marks, and they're like, Invader Brent Marks. I'm like, he's from Pennsylvania. It's not.
They're actually off this week. High Limit is off this week. They race next week. Pretty certain Outlaws. I hear crashing behind me. You heard it too?
Yes.
I don't even want to know. She's been good. I just hear crashing. It just happens. One bucket list race I do want to get to. It seems like we're slowly checking off bucket list races, but Bristol Nights would be a bucket list race, though. I definitely want to see Bristol. I think it would be really cool to see. They're racing in Illinois this week in the Outlaws. I think hold on. Let's get the right series. They are not. They're racing in I-55. That's my bad. I forgot that they keep posting about I-55 highlights from a couple years ago when it was Larson versus
Yeah, oh
Schuhart,
yeah,
where it was one of the greatest sprint car finishes I've ever seen.
that was a great race.
If you guys haven't seen that, go definitely check that out. It's really, really awesome. All right, well, our guest has just gotten here. He is a part-time ARCA Menards Series racer. Everybody, welcome in Presley Sorah. Well, Presley, I did a quick introduction. I mentioned you're a part-time ARCA racer. Talk a little bit about what all you race, what you've raced so far in your career, and what races you're looking at racing this year in the ARCA Series.
Yeah, so I'm a driver in the NASCAR ARCA Menards Series. I've been racing since I was 10 years old. I started out in go-karts and soapbox derby cars here in the state of Indiana, and I went kind of less traditional route. I went through sim racing to kind of continue advancing my career after go-karts, and used success in the sim racing world and various iRacing championships, such as Monday Night Racing in 2022, to get my name out into the real world racing scene. And then that got me opportunities in 2023 to race locally. And then I've been racing in the ARCA Series since 2024.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's sort of William Byron-esque how he came up through and getting his name out there. So that's, and you know what? Real racer, iRacer, show up on the thing, you already got the steering wheel in front of you. So
Yep, exactly.
we never stop.
That is true. That is very true.
Well, Presley, you're the third ARCA driver we've had up here, and I love talking to the small time drivers because that a lot of times they give the honest perspective and like how it is behind the scenes. Chris Golden's been on here before; he's racing some ARCA East series, and Caleb Costner's had been in the ARCA series for a little while now. He's been on this program. He's racing some now in the truck series, which is awesome to see. Everybody we talk to, the hardest thing right now is sponsorship, finances, and so coming from your perspective on obviously very likely a small town team, what have you seen to that make it's either beneficial lately or it's a struggle for small time teams getting those finances, getting those races because everybody wants to be the next Kyle Larson, William Byron, but you have to be seen by the right person. So it's what have you been able to do to like get your name out there and get more opportunities in these series?
Yeah, so I'm a first generation racer, so nobody in my family has ever raced before me. So I've kind of just paved my own way with it. And, I don't come from a family with money. So, I race on the weekends and Monday through Friday, I hold a regular job. So, I'm just working to get by like everybody else is. But I think the toughest thing for me is just having the time to do everything that I need
Yeah.
to do because I have to balance, obviously, working my regular job plus finding the marketing partners, which is a whole process with emails, phone calls. I spend so much time doing it every day. And then, you've got to prepare for the races as well. So it's like you're trying to cram like 3 or 4 days worth of stuff into one day every day. So that's the toughest thing in my opinion. And so much of that does go on behind the scenes as well. So, a lot of the time when you're looking on the TV and watching the races, I mean, that is what you see. When the TV window opens, you see, a couple of cutscenes with drivers. They'll interview a couple drivers and then they race. So, there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes just to get to the track. And obviously, the racing is difficult. Obviously, if it wasn't difficult, then anybody could do it. But I really feel like the toughest part is just getting yourself the opportunities to get to the racetrack. And then once you get to the racetrack, then it's kind of second nature because you've been doing it for so long. So, yeah, it's tough. It's definitely different than any of the other sports out there. Obviously NFL players aren't necessarily going out and looking for sponsorship funding to go do an NFL game. So NASCAR and just motorsports in general are so different in that aspect where obviously you do have to have talent to get anywhere in motorsports, but you've also got to have the connections and the marketing partners and everything to help back you to get there as well.
Well, the
Now,
good news is this day and age, you got social media, and there are better ways now than it was back in the day, and it's definitely cool to see that because it gives small time drivers like yourself, Caleb, that opportunity to be able to network themselves throughout every type of social media platform. I saw you have Instagram. I assume you well, like I would assume TikTok probably maybe I don't
Mhm.
know. It seems like all the younger drivers are like getting into that to get their name out, which is great because that algorithm starts clicking and that people start noticing. It only takes that one person to really notice, and I think that's really awesome. Did you race at? I think I saw you raced at Daytona this year in the ARCA series. And
Yes,
how
I
did that
did.
go?
Yeah, so Daytona went really, really well in my opinion. The only thing that didn't end up good with Daytona was just the finishing result. I
Yeah.
feel like everything leading up to it went really well. All of our social media content and promotion stuff, everything at the track went well on practice day, qualifying day. There was 50 entries for 40 spots, so there was 10 guys that had to go home just off qualifying. So my car, we were going to be right on the cutoff of having a points provisional or not from last year. So it was going to be a little sketchy no matter what. But thankfully, I timed my way in and qualified P21, I believe, out of the 50 cars. And thankfully, I did because the way the qualifying ended up shaking out, I actually wouldn't have had enough points. So I'd been one of the DNQs. So that all went really well. We had a plan for the race that I think would have worked out well, and we were just kind of biding our time for most of the race because we knew that I had a really, really fast car. I can't even stress enough how good the car was. I couldn't have asked for anything more from my team. But unfortunately, like right before our go point, it was 28 laps to go in the race. I assume it was a piece of debris. We don't really know for sure, but something on the track cut open it was our left rear tire, and it was a hole about this big. I mean, it wasn't huge, but enough to where
Enough to yeah.
obviously, when you're going 185 miles an hour, it's going to cause some issues. So, um, seemed like I had a slow leak for a couple laps. I had a little inkling of it getting loose, and then yeah, it just blew into 3 with no big vibration, no noise or anything. It just went down. So thankfully I ended up catching it, didn't hit anything. Went for a little 190-mile-an-hour joyride, but yeah, kept it off the wall, nursed it back to pit road, got the damage fixed and everything, and made it to the checkered.
Now, you were saying about getting into marketing partners and everything is the big part of it. Do you have a background in marketing, or is it something you just kind of learn as you go? I mean, not everybody can just come up and talk to companies and corporations and be like, "Hey, here's why I think you should give me some money so we can go racing." Is it
Yeah,
like did you learn that as you were kind of going on, or?
I've just picked it up as I've been going. I
Okay.
had no background in marketing whatsoever. It was just something that the iRacing and sim racing stuff progressed so quickly, and then I got thrown into a local level race car, and it was just something I just kind of had to learn on the fly. And through the sim racing stuff, I met some buddies in the real world and kind of bounced feedback and stuff off of them to help learn and pick up the process. But I mean, for the most part, it's just kind of trial and error. And truthfully, like obviously, yeah, you can go to school for marketing and you can do different, various things to help improve it. But what works for one driver or team isn't necessarily going to work for a different driver and team. So
Right.
it's hard to even really take too much advice. Obviously, you take it, to some level, but you kind of just have to do it yourself and see what works for you and see what you have success with. And that's kind of what I've done. And, just try to up my game every time I race.
Shoot, learning as you go. I mean, we're still that's how we are with this whole podcast. Is
That's
we're
how we
learning as
roll.
we go on it as well, and how to network things on social media. So I definitely hear you there. Uh, it's awesome to see. So what are the plans? Are you planning on racing Charlotte? I know that's a big opportunity to potentially have marketing opportunities like that. Is that an option that you guys were going to race ARCA there? Or?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we're not going to Charlotte this year. They ended up taking Charlotte off the schedule, and we're actually going to Chicagoland instead, which I'm happy
Well,
with.
that's
I
cool.
love
That's awesome.
Chicagoland.
That's
So
awesome. Chicagoland's awesome.
I think that track will be really, really good for the ARCA series because it should be multi-groove, I would think, and it's going to be super bumpy after all the years with no racing, and it should have a lot of character. So that's one I would like to do. Obviously, like I need the marketing partners to do it, so that's something I'm working on. So there's nothing set in stone, but there's quite a bit of races over the summer that I'm targeting that I'd really, really like to do. So my home race, Indianapolis Raceway Park, is July 23rd, I believe, or 24th,
Awesome.
sometime in the end of July. So that's always one I try to target every year. And there's some races up in Michigan and Chicagoland up there as well. So some closer races to me that I would like to do. And then there's some good ones in the fall as well. So nothing coming up real soon. No Kansas, no Talladega for me, but hoping I can definitely get in quite a few over the summer.
Well, I'm just browsing through your website. So if anybody's watching, go to presleysorah.com. If you click on the partners link, you have a rendering of your number 9 car. That thing is gorgeous.
Yes.
That is a beautiful, beautiful car.
Yes, it's my favorite that I've ever raced. I feel like I've had some pretty good looking race cars while I've been driving, and that one is my favorite by far. You couldn't miss it. And I'll tell you what, the pictures look really cool, but there is nothing that did it any justice. You had to see it in person down there in February. It was something to behold.
We had Hall of Fame sprint car driver Sammy Swindell on our channel, and we were talking about how he always had such good looking cars. And one thing he mentioned and never really thought about it, he was like, I always wanted to make sure when you saw that car, you knew that was him. You know, and it's like you could pick out, you see the car, you see the number, you know the sponsor, and then after he said that, you start looking at cars, be like, what number was that one? Which car? You know, like your car, you're going to spot that one. It would be like, oh, there it is. So that's really. I thought that was very insightful from Sammy. I was like, you know what? I never ever really thought of that. Then you see these other cars where you can't see the number. It's like they have a black car and a black number, and it's like, okay, that's. You think the sponsors really wanted it to pop like yours is doing. That's really cool. Like even under your photos with the actual car, it looks just as good as that rendering.
Like that.
Yeah, it looks
That's
really,
sharp.
really good.
The sucker's sharp. The whole graphic's actually really cool.
Yeah, it turned out great. And one of the tough things, I guess, about being kind of in the midfield on back in the ARCA series is, and especially when you're racing part time like I am, like I don't have a set number every week. I don't even necessarily have a set team every week. I mean, I've raced for several different teams over the last few years, so I'm working a lot behind the scenes here to really kind of immortalize that number 9 car from Daytona because it is such a good looking race car, and I feel like that race was the biggest one that I've done so far. So I think if anybody's going to think of me and think of the ARCA series, they're going to think of that car, hopefully, compared to other cars I've driven in the past. So yeah, we're doing a lot to help immortalize that thing, and I can't say too much yet, but there's some really exciting stuff going on.
Well, we're excited.
People, okay. Just explain a little bit. Like if you're looking at the cars, be like, "Well, it says it's a Fusion." Real quick, can you explain the rules for ARCA as far as the car and the body that you're allowed to run?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is like all of the cars themselves. The only difference really is that outer shell. So, pretty much all the teams are running Ilmor motors. So it's a fairly spec motor across the board. There's a few that are old legacy Chevy motors and old Roush Yates motors, which they don't quite have the power as what the Ilmor does. But like all the big teams, my car at Daytona, like those are all Ilmors. And really for the big tracks, we're all running Ilmor motors. But yeah, it is kind of different in the ARCA series, whereas like obviously in the Cup series, if you're running a Ford, you have to run a Mustang. If you're running a Chevy, you've got to run a Camaro. Toyota, you got to run a Camry. So it is different. In ARCA, we can run Fusions or Mustangs. It's totally up to us, whatever the team has. So actually, the team that I drove for at Daytona, Andy Hillenberg Fast Track Racing, they have they've got Chevys, they've got Toyotas, they've got Mustangs, they've got Fusions. So I've gosh, I drove a couple Toyotas for them. Drove the Ford Fusion at Daytona. They also had a Mustang down there testing. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty wide range of stuff down there. But yeah, there is no like set manufacturer uh, deal in ARCA where like if you're driving a Ford, you have to run a Mustang. That's not what we have. So and that helps cut the costs down a lot for
Yeah.
some of the smaller teams because for the most part, the smaller teams are what run the Fusions. Most of the bigger teams do run the Mustangs. So there's not really much of a competitive difference between the two. The shape itself is fairly similar aside from the nose. But yeah, it is a cost-cutting measure for some of the team owners and allows them to use whatever they have.
So that's what I was going to say. That's got to be exceptionally helpful for teams to be able to cut costs and not have that set. You have to run this more expensive body type. So that's cool that they're able to do that, to give people that opportunity. And it also I've seen that it helps that it's not the regular cautions where like pit stops, you don't have to do your normal pit stops. You can take your time, get it done, don't lose track position. That helps the smaller teams too. Saw that in person with Caleb, and that was awesome to have everybody pretty much a level playing field, so it doesn't the one team that spends millions of dollars a year and they're basically a whole full-fledged NASCAR team as opposed to smaller teams like your teams. It kind of evens the playing field. So some small things like that in ARCA you really appreciate to see and to make it better and give people that hope and opportunity that they can go on and do bigger and better things, which is awesome. One thing I want to leave with you, every guest we have on, for the most part, we try to get. So I assume you follow like NASCAR and the Cup Series and things like that. So what we do every week, we already finished up our segment. Is we have a NASCAR fantasy, and we also gave our race picks this week. We gave our race picks for Bristol heading this week. Who are you looking at that has a good shot to win, and who? I guess your pick to win Bristol this week in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Yeah, I saw that they changed the tire compound, and I have a feeling it's probably going to be a little bit more similar to what they had in the last few next gen races that didn't have a bunch of tire wear. So in those, Kyle Larson completely stomped the field. I think he led like 440 laps out of 500 in the night race a couple years ago. So if that tire is like that, I think Larson's probably going to be pretty tough to beat. I would say my two would be Larson or Hamlin, but
Yes,
gosh, I'm
I picked
biased towards
Hamlin.
the
They
six.
picked.
I'm biased
Yeah.
towards the 6 car. Keselowski's always been my favorite since I've been little. So he's had a good year, just short all the time on winning. I think he's got like some absurd number, like 14 second place finishes over like the last 5 years. So I don't know. I'm hoping the 6 car wins or one of the RFK boys, but I think Hamlin's been really good this season. Larson's been really good at Bristol, depending on the tire compound. So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
I'm interesting to see they have the higher horsepower package at this one, so maybe that different tire compound, but now you have the higher horsepower. How that affects the tire wear, it might even it out a little bit. As long as it's not where the tires completely shred after 10 laps, like they had a couple years ago, was like a cheese grater on the track. I'm all for it. I picked Hamlin. Dad picked Kyle Larson. So I guess we're all kind of in that playing field right now. So
Yeah.
Hey, great minds think alike. What do you
Yeah,
got?
no kidding. That's pretty insane, actually.
Well, speaking of RFK, I was actually so I work. I'm a police officer in Concord, and the RFK shop's actually in my area. I was actually just parked there last night, just checking on the property. So funny that you just mentioned RFK.
Wow,
It just
yeah.
came to my mind right there. Presley, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on here. Everybody give Presley a follow on Instagram, TikTok, all social media. His website is very well done. It's very professional. So check his website out.
Yeah, make sure we
all you got
put the
all you
link
got
in
to
the
do is check.
description.
All you got to do is just type in his name on Google, and his website will pop up right away. I don't. Do you have any merchandise on the website that if anybody want to look at that? I haven't looked really detailed on that, but if I've assumed maybe some merchandise because that car that you race at Daytona, that's some badass T-shirts if you had that made.
Yes, so we have awesome looking T-shirts with the Daytona car on the website right now. So if you go to PresleySorah.com, go to the shop, and everything's right on there.
I might check it out myself because that car it shows up so well, and Dad and I always talk about like that car would make a really cool looking T-shirt on a bunch of everybody's cars. Like that was cool, that was cool. That one definitely for sure is. But Presley, we appreciate you. Hopefully, we get you back on in the future. Good luck with everything, and see you in Chicagoland. Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah,
right,
thanks
you have
for
a good
stopping by.
Thank you. Bye.
What?
What a nice young man. I mean, nice kid. And best of luck to him. Like I said, definitely that car was freaking sharp. As soon as I clicked on it, I was like, oh damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's a rendering, and then I went through his other ones. It's like, oh, the car looks just like that.
Again, there it is. That's pretty cool. That's pretty freaking cool. If he just puts a Chevy shell on, it'd be better. Really interesting how we explain the body styles and
how that gives ARCA a lot of personality. You'd be watching, I'd be like, wait a minute. I know that one was a Chevy. I know that one's a Ford. Well, what's this one? Oh, it's an older Ford, or it's the SS.
Again, like I said, I appreciate them having that, doing that for these small teams where they can kind of pick and choose which ones will work best for them in their financial situation. So that's one thing ARCA does pretty well. So hopefully he gets the more sponsorship and gets his name out there. Really cool to see. Now we got another person root for ARCA, so we've got a couple of people. So I hope everybody just make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff for us. Make sure you check out Presley, all of his stuff. Check out his cool merch. I bet there's some badass stuff on there. So we already said that. So we'll see everybody next week and see how Bristol goes this weekend.
All right. Bye, everybody.